All right, so let's imagine a world. Okay. A world where the US is like the top dog when it comes to electric vehicles and self-driving cars.
Yeah.
We're diving into this article someone sent our way.
Right.
It's about a really big shift in how the US spends its money. Like instead of the military, it's all about EVs and AI.
Interesting.
It's a kind of crazy idea, right?
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to look at today, like all the what ifs.
It's definitely a thought experiment.
For sure.
More than anything.
Yeah.
I think we want to kind of see what makes these tech revolutions tick.
Yeah.
We're not here to say this is the policy we should have or anything.
Yeah.
We're just exploring the possibilities.
So basically this article says, let's take billions, maybe even trillions of dollars.
Wow.
And just pour it into stuff like, EV batteries, charging stations, all that self-driving tech.
Yeah.
It makes you think, right? Like, what kind of crazy tech could we have by now?
I mean, just think about batteries for a second. With all that money, we could be way past range anxiety.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Imagine solid-state batteries.
Yeah.
So much lighter, safer, and the energy they could hold.
Wow.
Forget about the lithium-ion batteries we have now.
Yeah.
These would be light years ahead.
That's wild.
Longer ranges, faster charging, maybe even charging in minutes instead of hours.
Wow, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Not just for normal people driving around,
Right.
but for big industries too, Truck and deliveries, buses.
Oh, please. I mean, this wouldn't just be about catching up either.
Oh, yeah.
This would be about the U.S. setting the pace for everyone else.
Okay.
Instead of Tesla or BYD, it'd be American companies making the tech everyone wants.
So we're talking super efficient batteries.
Nah.
Maybe even AI managing all the charging, so it's super fast.
Yeah, exactly.
What does all this mean for the U.S. economy?
Well, this article talks about a whole manufacturing boom happening. Factories all over the place making millions of these high-tech EVs and self-driving cars.
Wow.
Tons of new jobs, too, really skilled ones.
Yeah.
It could change whole parts of the country.
That sounds pretty amazing.
It does.
But wouldn't there be some downsides, too? What about all the people working in the car industry now?
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Would they just be left behind?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
There would definitely be some tough times for some people.
Mm.
We need to help them, with the retraining and stuff.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone benefits from this, not just some people.
Okay, so beyond the money stuff, what about the U.S., on the world stage? How would this change things with other countries?
Well, one thing the article mentions is energy security.
Okay.
Right now, the U.S. needs a lot of oil from other countries.
Yeah.
And that can cause problems,
Makes sense.
But imagine if most of our transportation ran on electricity that we made ourselves.
That would be a big change.
Yeah, it would.
Less fighting over oil, less worrying about prices. Exactly.
Sounds pretty good.
And it goes even further.
Oh, yeah.
This could make the U.S. The leader in fighting climate change.
Really?
Yeah, if we're using way less gas that shows the whole world what to do.
Wow. So this isn't just about cars and tech.
Right.
It's about the environment and global power and everything.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty big claim, though.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic for a second. Even with all this money, wouldn't the U.S. still have some serious competition?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, companies like Tesla and Google are already spending billions on this stuff.
You're right. Government money doesn't mean you automatically win.
Right.
The EV and self-driving market, it's super competitive.
Yeah.
Even with a head start, the U.S. would need to be smart to stay on top.
Okay, so we're talking about the U.S. leading this whole EV and self-driving thing.
Yeah.
What kind of plan would they need? How would they beat everyone else and really be the best?
Well, this article says it's all about working together.
Okay.
Not just giving companies money, but getting them to team up with researchers and the government.
Like a big team effort.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Apollo program, but for transportation.
It's fence. I got to put all the best minds together.
Exactly.
But even with the coolest tech, wouldn't we still have that infrastructure problem? Imagine millions of EVs on the road.
Yeah.
Where are they going to charge?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
The article talks about a massive investment in charging stations.
Okay.
Not just a few here and there,
Yeah.
a whole network across the country.
Wow.
Reliable, easy to find, and able to handle all those cars.
You're upgrading the power grid big time?
Yeah.
Charging stations everywhere, maybe even built into parking garages and rest stops.
Exactly.
That's a lot of work.
It is.
And it's not just about building stuff.
Right.
We need the tech to manage all that energy, too.
Yeah, we need smart grids and AI to make it all work smoothly.
So we've got the tech challenge and the building challenge. What about the people? How do we get them to actually use these electric and self-driving cars?
That's where it gets really tricky.
Yeah.
You got to deal with safety worries, range worries, cost worries,
Right.
people losing their jobs. Right.
Public opinion can really make or break this whole thing.
Exactly. You need people to trust these new technologies and see how they can benefit.
It makes you wonder what kind of ads they'd be running in this alternate world.
Yeah.
Would it be like, go electric, it's the future kind of stuff?
Maybe.
Maybe the government would even give people money to buy EVs.
It's possible.
Or help companies build more charging stations.
Yeah, basically making it easier and more attractive for people to switch.
But even with all that, wouldn't some people still be against it?
Oh, for sure.
Like, think about all the businesses that would be affected.
Right.
Gas stations, mechanics, even truck drivers.
Yeah, there would definitely be some people who would lose out. And we'd need to make sure they're taken care of.
Right.
Retraining programs, support for communities, things like that.
And what about the politics of all this?
Oh, yeah.
This wouldn't happen overnight. And there would be some powerful people trying to stop it.
You're right. Some people would want to keep things the way they are.
Yeah.
The article doesn't really go into the political stuff too much.
Okay.
But it does say that would be a big challenge.
So we've been talking about this imaginary world where the U.S. goes all in on EVs and self-driving cars.
Yeah.
But it is just a thought experiment. Can't go back in time and change things, right?
So what's the point? What can we learn from this? I think the big takeaway is that the decisions we make about technology and investment have huge consequences.
Okay.
Not just for money, but for the environment, national security, our place in the world.
It's like a reminder that we're not just passengers.
Yes.
We can actually shape the future.
Yeah.
But it takes big ideas,
Let's-
smart planning, and being open to change.
Exactly. And even though we can't change the past, this kind of thought experiment can help us make better choices for the future.
Yeah.
It makes us ask ourselves, what kind of world do we want? And what are we willing to do to get there?
That's a really good question.
It is.
And it brings us back to right now.
Yeah.
This whole what if was about the U.S., but these challenges and opportunities are everywhere.
Absolutely. The future of transportation is being shaped all over the world.
Right.
But the things we've learned from this thought experiment, like the need for innovation, working together and thinking about the long term, those are important for everyone.
Yeah. It's like we peeked into another world, one where the U.S. went all in on EVs and self-driving cars.
Right.
Kind of makes you think about the road we're on now, you know?
It definitely shows us that the future isn't like set in stone. The choices we make, they can really change things.
Yeah.
This whole thought experiment, even though it's like imaginary,
Right.
it can help us make smarter choices in the real world.
So what are some of those real challenges you're talking about?
Well, one big one, no matter what tech we're talking about, is making sure it's sustainable.
Okay.
We can't just keep inventing new things without thinking about the environment. You know, how much energy they use, what happens to them when we're done with them.
So it's not just about building cool new cars.
Right.
It's about making a better future for everyone.
Exactly. A future that's high tech, but also good for the planet.
So we need to think about things like recycling EVs,
Uh-huh.
making batteries from stuff that's not going to run out.
Exactly.
Like a whole system where we reuse stuff and don't waste anything.
Yeah. Circular economy.
And what about the people?
Right.
How do we make sure everyone benefits from these new technologies?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
We need to make sure people don't lose their jobs because of EVs and self-driving cars
Uh-huh.
and find new opportunities for them.
Yeah, these are tough questions.
They are.
But this thought experiment, it helps us see them in a new way.
By imagining that world where everything's electric and autonomous,
Right.
we can see what's possible, but also what could go wrong.
It makes us think harder about the choices we're making now.
And the future we're building.
Exactly.
It's like we took a test drive into the future.
And now we know the road a little better.
Mm.
We see the challenges, we see the good stuff, and we get to decide where to go from here.
The future of transportation is still being written,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and we're all part of writing that story.
That's a good point.
Whether it's the cars we buy, the things we tell our leaders, the ideas we come up with, we can all help make a future where technology makes life better for everyone.
And it helps us take care of the planet.
Exactly.
That's a great place to wrap things up.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
my pleasure.
It's been fun exploring all these what-ifs.
It has.
And hopefully it's got you thinking about the future of transportation in some new ways.
I hope so.